Good morning, I'm Ben.
Good morning, I'm Gwen.
And this is a video about raising our pigs.
Pigs.
Okay, we want to show you around the farm and show you how we're doing our pigs here, but to change up this video a little bit, this is actually a bit of a video of what not to do. And this is kind of a fun video to make because it's a surprise. We've been raising pigs now. This is our third batch of pigs, and we've been learning that farm fresh doesn't always mean farm fresh like you think it might mean. And I'll show you why, and I'll show you some things I don't like about kind of the traditional farming, at least what I think of traditional farming, at least with pigs, but also some techniques and some ways that we want to fix it and make it better. So the first thing we want to show you is, pigs get muddy, they get dirty. Their feet are all muddy, their noses are all muddy, and the first thing they do is over here is actually they ran out of food this morning, which is normal, and so I gave them a bag of feed, and so they're really hungry, and they're probably gorging a little bit because they were hungry, and so I don't like that either. I'd rather have kind of an on-demand feed, because pigs are smart, and they only eat when they're hungry, and then they go and do pig stuff. So over here is our trough, and a couple things I want to show you is there's a pig inside the trough with muddy feet, a muddy nose, and the other ones have muddy feet, and they have their front hooves are in the trough. And so let's take a look at that. So there's one pig right inside. Okay, look. See that pig right there? Hi, piggy. So the pigs, they don't really know. Maybe they don't really care. Sometimes they lay down in the food. Sometimes they stand in the food. They often stand in the food. And again, it's not sanitary. And that mud and probably some pig poop gets in their food, and then they eat that, and that's not healthy and can make them sick. So again, here's the typical food trough for a pig. I'm not sure if you noticed, but yeah, their front legs are all muddy. And so the next thing we want to show you over here is just kind of their water area. So we have these 3 water buckets here, and typically we come out and we clean them out every morning, sometimes in the afternoon, and then again in the evening, and we hose them out. And unfortunately, again, their front hooves get in the water, their nose, which has that muddy snout, that gets in the water, and it makes for this kind of unsanitary, muddy, gross watering for the pigs. And just to kind of even show you here, just the mud that is in here. Well, there's a nice worm for fishing. Okay, so we have unsanitary food conditions, we have unsanitary water conditions, and another thing I want to talk about is just what we feed our pigs. And in general, it's encouraged, it's praised to take vegetables from your local grocery store and feed those to your pigs. And we did that for the last year. But I really just couldn't do it with a clean conscience, because I went and talked to them and asked them and said, hey, these vegetables, are they organic vegetables? And they said, oh no, they've been sprayed with chemicals and herbicides and pesticides, and so basically they have a layer or a film it's been sprayed poison on the vegetables. And I'm not washing the vegetables, I'm just feeding buckets to the pigs because it's fresh vegetables. But really it's kind of defeating the purpose of giving them vegetables if it has if it's laced with poison. And so I don't give them vegetables anymore from the store. We give them vegetables sometimes and food scraps from our own kitchen, from our own garden. The other thing I wanted to mention is a lot of food pantries and a lot of churches, have mounds and mounds of bread that is just being wasted. And so we were encouraged to just take loaves and loaves and loaves of bread and feed them to our pigs. But again, you know, it's chocked full of preservatives, and it has the bleached white flour, which isn't good. And so we were giving them, you know, poisoned vegetables and preservative bleached white breads. And so as you can kind of see, it's not the farm fresh that you would expect. And so we're trying to change that here on our farm. Our motto is natural stewardship at its best. And so what we're looking to do with these piggies, and following a farm that we really like, is Polyface Farm in Virginia. And we're actually looking to go to their farm conference this next month. Super excited about that. And so what we're doing is we actually have these on-demand pig nipples that get screwed into a hose, and it gives them on-demand clean fresh water whenever they need it. Another thing that we have is an outdoor 60 bushel hog feeder that we're getting set up right now, and we'll be feeding them just on demand whenever they want it, clean food, and they can only get their head into the trough, and so that'll hopefully fix that problem. And then just the other thing is just not keeping them in the same place for very long. They get you know, the ground gets muddy, gets stagnant. Any sicknesses or bacterias, you know, tend to kind of just ferment and get worse and worse. And so another thing we're going to be doing is transferring them into different paddocks every few weeks to give them a new piece of ground to work on. So pretty exciting here on the farm. So again, this is a look at maybe the farm fresh you thought isn't as farm fresh as you thought. And in conclusion, and in closing this video, another thing that's important is just, do you know your local farmer? Do you know where your pork or your beef or your lamb or your eggs or your chicken or whatever it is you're eating, your vegetables, do you know where it comes from? Do you know what kind of husbandry or what kind of stewardship they're doing? And so we're doing our best here on our farm, and I hope you've enjoyed your video, and we'll show you a new video of maybe the ideal pig situation next time. All right, thanks for tuning in. Until next time.